If you've tried all the supplements, the sleep tricks, the sleep hygiene, and you're still struggling with your sleep through the night, you might be addressing the symptoms instead of the real reason you can't sleep, the state your nervous system is in across the entire day. And I can say that because I've worked with hundreds of people through this exact problem, including myself, on a 10-year, $180,000 journey trying to fix it. So in this video, I'm going to be talking and walking you through the entire routine to reset your nervous system so that you can fall asleep and stay asleep, starting from the moment you wake up in the morning, all the way through the moment you get to bed at night. So make sure you stick around for the last part because getting that piece wrong can undo everything you just did during the day. So phase one, it's when we first wake up. The entire routine starts the moment we wake up because the state of your nervous system in the morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. You've probably heard this at this point. And it affects how easily we can switch off at night. And just to be clear, nervous system activation isn't the only reason someone can struggle with sleep. Things like sleep apnea, medications, and other medical factors can absolutely play a role. But for people I've worked with, it's become very clear if you've ruled those things out, and even if you do have those things, there's often a layer that is being missed. And it's the one that actually fixes sleep. So get natural sunlight within the first 30 to 60 minutes of awakening for 10 to 20 minutes outside if you can. It's the direct signal to your brain that says this is morning. And that's what anchors our internal clock for the rest of the day. And this is one of the sort of non-negotiables in my own routine. Rain or shine, I'm outside within the first 30 minutes. And I've noticed on the days that I skip this, my evenings feel a bit harder. It takes a little bit longer to wind down. The body didn't get its signal it needed to start the day, and so it's sort of playing catch up all day. Next, don't check in with how tired you feel the moment your alarm goes off. That's often the first activation throughout the day. And once your nervous system reads a threat that early, it spends the next few hours trying to play catch up instead of settling. And I had a client, an executive, who woke up every morning and immediately assessed how rested he felt, rated himself on a scale, and spent the first 20 minutes of the day bracing for how it was going to go that day based on that rating. So we called it his morning audit, and stopping that one habit alone helped to shift something. His days started to feel less loaded before they even began, and that's an important signal. The less stress we're carrying during the day, the easier sleep becomes. Next, you want to consider getting light movement and your first meal being within 1 to 2 hours of awakening. It's a physical confirmation to your body that it's actually daytime. It's time for it to wake up. It's a message to those cells. Now, for some of you, I know these are review and may even sound basic, but covering the fundamentals here is important. And real quick, before we get into what to do during the daytime before you sleep, if you're a high performer and this has been going on for a while and you want to actually get to the root cause and build a plan around it, there's a link below to apply to work with me directly. So check that out. All right, so let's move into phase two, which is daytime, because this is where most of what's keeping you awake tonight gets built, the hours before you ever even get into bed. So think about what your day actually looks like. Back-to-back demands, a phone that doesn't stop buzzing, a mental list of everything you're supposed to be handling. You can move through all of that and still feel fine. But none of that tension evaporates once you're done for the day. It's still sitting in your body. It doesn't get processed until things go quiet enough for you to actually feel it. That's a hugely important point. This is why you can be running on fumes and still feel wired and tired at night. Your nervous system really only runs in one of three modes, and that's fight or flight, shut down, or actually safe and connected. And most people spend their whole day bouncing between those first two and never touch the third one, which means your body ends up trying to process the entire day's worth of activation while you're now trying to fall asleep. You need to give your nervous system at least one real taste of safety, of connected state before that even starts. One of my clients, a woman in her 40s, runs her own business and has been struggling with sleep for almost 2 years. She was doing everything right at night. The routine was solid, but her days were completely relentless, back to back with no real pause. And when I asked her what she did during the day that actually made her feel like herself, She thought about it for a long time, and she said she used to float in her pool in the afternoons when she first moved into her house. And she hadn't done that in over a year. So we just simply put that back in the routine. Just 20 minutes in the afternoon of sun, floating, no phone. And within a week, her evenings felt different. The wind down became easier, and her body was arriving at bedtime having already had one moment of genuine safety instead of running all the way through the day straight into the pillow on fumes. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be that specifically, just something that gives your body that same sort of taste of actually being safe or being connected, right? So a genuine connecting conversation, laughing with a friend, anywhere you feel like you're not performing or producing. Real connection actually drops your cortisol, slows the heart rate, sending your body the signal that you're safe now. And safety is crucial for falling asleep. We don't let go into rest without a nervous system that feels safe. Now, phase 3, the evenings, because even if you get through the day right, the last part of the day either sends the signal to your nervous system that it's safe to sleep or it's time to be on high alert. So what you do in that last hour before bed matters just as much as anything you do in the morning. And it determines whether you just fall asleep or fall asleep and stay asleep. For years, my own version of this was scrolling in bed until I passed out of exhaustion, any kind of distraction I could find. And I genuinely thought that was working because I was falling asleep. What I didn't realize is that I was crashing, I wasn't resting. My sleep was fragmented. I wasn't getting the deep restorative stages my body needed. And I'd wake up hours later completely wired. The scrolling was sending my nervous system the exact opposite signal I needed. Stay alert. There's more to process. Instead of, we're done for the day. We're complete. So take a few minutes with a piece of paper. Write down anything that is unresolved, still sitting in your head. It's about getting it out of your body and onto the page. So your nervous system doesn't have to hold on to it. So your body doesn't have to hold on. And I've had clients tell me this one thing, 5 minutes of writing before bed did more for their sleep than 6 months of supplements. Not because it's magic, but because the brain stops rehearsing what it's afraid of. It'll forget the moment it sees it's captured somewhere safe. Now, a beautiful thing to add is a few extended slow breaths or a gentle stretch. Think about the direct signal that could send to your body that it's safe again, to come down out of this alertness. I would also encourage you to dim the lights, put the phone away, slow everything down. Every one of these is a beautiful signal, and your nervous system is always reading them. And now phase 4, what happens the moment you actually get into bed? Because this is where a lot of people undo everything that they just did in these last few phases. If getting into bed has meant now I have to fall asleep for years, then your body is going to start bracing the second you get in. The bed has become a place of pressure and not peace. One of my clients, a business owner in his early 50s, could fall asleep on the couch with no problem. He'd put on a show and he'd be out in 20 minutes. You kind of hear this a lot, but the second he got into bed, he'd activate. Heart rate up, mind running. Even if he had been completely calm on the couch minutes before, his bed had been conditioned as the place that he went to try but fail to fall asleep. That association has been building for 3 years. We didn't start by fixing his sleep. We started by changing what bed meant, the relationship to it, which is the same reason some people can fall asleep on the plane, on a hotel bed, anywhere except their bedroom. The environment has become the trigger. So what actually helped is having a staging zone. This was sitting on the edge of his bed for just a few minutes before getting in. Instead of going straight from being activated or standing to lying down and expecting sleep on a command. So it's a small ritual that signals the transition. So within 2 weeks, that activation, when he got into bed, had softened significantly. That's a huge sign that we're on the way to actually getting full restorative sleep again. So don't lie there fighting for it either. If you're not asleep after a while, that pressure itself is the thing keeping you up. If you can feel that pressure building instead of settling, get up, go do something calm in the dim light for a bit, journal or read a book, nothing on a screen if you can, and only come back once you actually feel sleepy again. This is the last piece. Your body's been given safety during the day, a clean slate in the evening, now permission to just rest. Your sleep shouldn't feel like a test that you're failing every night. Once you actually address the underlying problem, starting with just a few simple changes from the moment you wake up to right before bed, then you're sending the body the right signals. And the more consistently we do that, the more your nervous system picks up on them. It's not an instantaneous fix, but it's one that actually moves the needle in a positive direction for the long term. And in time, falling asleep, staying asleep stops being a fight. It just happens. Now, if you're a high performer and this has been costing you your sleep, your energy, your patience, whatever it's touching in your life, this is exactly the work I do with people one-on-one to help them fix their sleep for good. We go way deep into figuring out what's at the root to actually heal this thing. So there's a link in the description. Go ahead and apply, book a call, and we'll see what's going on with you and see if I can even help. So thanks for watching, and until I see you in the next one, rest well.